I was furious at my mom for sleeping with my teacher, but then she told me why. I came home early and found my mom in bed with Mr. Lowell, my AP chemistry teacher who's married with 3 kids. I stood frozen in the doorway feeling like I was about to vomit. Her blazer was draped over the lamp and his dress shirt lay inside out on the floor. The smell of his cologne, the same one that made me gag in chemistry class, was now contaminating my mother's bedroom. Mr. Lowell ran past me clutching his pants while his pale chest showed scratch marks, and my mother wrapped herself in a sheet with her face completely drained of color. "Please let me explain," she said with tears streaming down her face as she reached toward me with shaking hands. "How could you?" I screamed and backed into the hallway. "He's my teacher. His wife goes to your book club." My mother sat on the bed and put her head in her hands while her whole body trembled. I had no choice. "Everyone has a choice about who they sleep with," I said as my voice cracked. Mom said, "Mr. Lowell has been selling pills to students at your school." My face dropped. "What?" "Fentanyl, sweetheart, Xanax, Adderall. 3 kids have overdosed this semester alone." I stared at her and tried to process this. "So you decided to have an affair with him? How does that make any sense? Even if he was, why wouldn't you just call the police?" My mother stood on unsteady legs and walked to her closet. She pulled out a box from the top shelf with trembling hands. Inside were photos, recording devices, and documents with FBI letterhead. My blood went cold when I looked at surveillance photos of my chemistry teacher in dark parking lots. "Mr. Lowell isn't just some teacher selling pills on the side," she said while her voice broke. "He's part of a major operation. They're using teachers in 5 districts because no one suspects educators." She sat back down and looked older than I'd ever seen her. "The FBI recruited me 6 months ago because I had access to him through school events. I was just supposed to gather information at PTA meetings, but he wouldn't talk business unless we got closer." Tears were running down her face now. "One of the kids who overdosed died last month. You remember? He was 14 years old. His little sister found his body." I remembered his memorial where his parents sobbed uncontrollably. His little sister had to be carried out of the auditorium while the rest of us wore purple ribbons. "Does Dad know?" I whispered. "No one knows except my handler." She looked destroyed. "Not even your father knows, because if anyone knew, the whole operation would collapse." She spread photos across the bed showing Mr. Lowell meeting teachers in parking garages. Text messages using code words were visible alongside a spreadsheet of student names with prices that made me sick. These were kids I knew and sat next to in class. "They target specific students," she said while showing me their notes. "Kids with divorced parents, kids with anxiety about college, and foster kids are all marked. They know exactly who's vulnerable." She pulled out another document while her hands shook worse now. "They're expanding to middle schools and planning to recruit 8th graders as dealers. Your brother's friend Bram is on their list." I felt my stomach drop thinking about Bram, who played video games at our house every weekend. He still wore superhero shirts and collected Pokemon cards. "Look at his file," she said. "Single mom who works nights and they're behind on rent. They know exactly what to offer him. They've been watching him for months and documenting his routine." She showed me more files detailing 5 kids who died from overdoses in 2 years, with all deaths made to look accidental or like suicides. Teachers were discussing doses in group texts like they were talking about homework assignments. "Mr. Lowell handles the AP students personally," she said. "He offers them study aids for the SATs, then gradually increases the doses. He has 17 honor students hooked right now." She showed me a photo of a girl from last year's graduating class. We were told she killed herself, but she actually overdosed on pills he gave her the night before finals. My mother was sobbing now. I tried keeping distance, but he started getting suspicious. The only way to get close enough was to do this. Now I'm so close to getting them all because he trusts me. He's starting to show me the supplier network. She looked at me with desperate eyes. 3 more weeks and we can arrest them all, including every teacher and every supplier. We can save all these kids, but I need more evidence like names and locations. "I can help," I heard myself saying. She stared at me for a long moment while tears still fell. I said, "I'm his lab assistant. I have access to his computer during prep period. He has a second phone in his desk." My mother's face crumbled completely. She reached into the box and pulled out a tiny recording device, which she handed to me with shaking hands. "Tomorrow, you act completely normal. Can you do that?" I thought about my classmate's little sister finding his body. I thought about Bram being targeted. I thought about the 17 honor students who didn't know they were dying. "By any means necessary," I said. Full story on the channel below.